Hey, beautiful people. I'm Mila.
Hey y'all, I'm Monica.
And thanks for joining us.
How are you doing?
I am aligned and balanced.
Okay, well, then that means we're definitely ready to get this thing started. Of course, I'm always excited to be catching up with you, and welcome, fam. We are excited that you're with us as well. I know that today we will be covering dating because we promised you a little more fun dating episode. But this is gonna be
hmm
this is gonna be a real dating episode because, of course, we stay contact with the community, and there's some things that have come up for us that have kind of evolved where we were going to discuss. And then, of course, we are wrapping up April, and so we're getting ready to head into May, which means we're in full spring mode.
April
And
went
so
by fast,
quick, fast, and in a hurry.
but it's
So
sunny.
well, it's time for those May flowers, so it actually makes sense. It's transitioning quite nicely. I know my allergies are insane right now. Even the rain, when it is spring and allergy season, has me in a
hmm
tizzy. So I know that as the sun comes out and that pollen count goes up, I am looking forward to using my allergy medicine. So yay.
I was what you gonna shout about, but no, they're not a sponsor. So.
No, no, no. I am not at this time. Maybe one day they will be, but but at this time, no. So, girl, there's been so much going on just in general. We're excited about dating and relationships, but before we get into all that, how was your week?
um, yeah, you know how you think your week is gonna go one way and it goes totally another way,
Yeah.
and put you on your ASS. So yeah. I'm recuperating and I will be lounging this weekend. Everybody else will probably be out and about. There's lots of events and the sun is out and it's in
Mhm.
the 70s and people freak
Mhm.
out
Whew, you know what
up here in
happens,
Washington.
Washington. I said, you know what happens when Seattle gets a 7-degree day. Oh my goodness, you're gonna see Daisy Dukes and flip flops and people. It's a full on summer day when it gets into the 70s.
Girl, I mean, it's gonna go right into next week, with May 5th being a full moon.
Okay, well, I will definitely have on my hazmat suit if I have to do any going outside because I mean, the hazmat suit is really important because because of the allergies and then just the people just losing it, acting like people are not getting sick out there. Because actually, it's so funny. I know a lot of people who are getting sick now after everything is supposed to be calm because everyone is super relaxed. So I'm like, okay, just
Yeah.
practice good hygiene, honey.
But
Wear your mask when appropriate. How to use that sanitizer. Have some wipes with you. Trust nothing.
But going back to the full moon on May 5th, it is called a flower moon, which, makes sense in May.
Great.
And it's also they
Cinco
can
de Mayo. That's what I'm thinking of
yeah,
when I think of May 5th. So,
and
whew.
they also call it a planting, milk or hair moon. And so basically it's just a time of abundance, give thanks, but give thanks always. So
Yeah, okay. No, I definitely like that. We're
oh,
always
oh,
into the moon.
oh, oh, and I already and I almost forgot because I had mentioned it the last episode. Retrograde. The dates are May 2nd to October 11th.
Well,
Um
so it's just a retrograde year. So we're not going to even
oh
worry
yeah,
about that.
it's a retrograde year, but with this you want to it's going to bring light to areas in our lives that we really need to work through or work
Mm.
on. And so, you can ask yourself questions like, what are my unresolved wounds? Are there any habits or behaviors that have negatively impacting my life? Journal, sit down, meditate, get by yourself.
Oh, I like that because I think that's going to help people when they're out here trying to date. Because we've been kind of playing around with some of these dating scenarios throughout the month. And I know that we asked earlier in the month the question, like, what what is a bad question to be asked on a first date. And I feel like you're telling everyone that retrograde is going to have everyone cleaning up these wounds and making themselves better for potential partners or
Yeah, you
partnerships or
still got
alignments.
to go through that shadow work, so it's gonna be an ugly part of the process.
Well, thankfully it's springtime, so everybody enjoy your spring flings now that we're out of hibernation, and be ready for those summer romances. Okay, that's how I look at it. And then do some self work too. If the spring fling ended too quickly, or it didn't work, or was weird, you analyze that before you get into your full blown summer romance. So it's optimistic Mila today.
So what are a couple of questions that you like to hear or you like to ask for these new found interest?
Girl, you know me. I'm not opposed to questions. So I don't hate or love any question. But I definitely did look up a few questions that people said, oh, these are like terrible questions to ask. And some of them surprised me. Things like, how long have you been single? Like, I get when people say, when you're going on a first date, to not necessarily bring up like, why did your last relationship end? That's considered a bad question. Or anything too personal. But people had questions like, considered like, what's your passion? Like, that's a good first date question. And to me, that question is kind of cringy. I don't like, what's my
Oh,
passion? I'm like, okay, but because I feel more like that's like a job a job interview. So I'm like, oh, what's
no,
my passion?
it's a broad question.
Yeah, but I don't love it. But they consider that some of the things that I was looking over, some of the dating books and help and all that. They're like, oh yeah, that's a interesting question. Like, what are you passionate about? What's your passion? I'm like, okay,
You already know I don't like why are you single? I'll be like, why are you divorced? Like
yeah.
let's get into it then.
Well, then they ask you, well, why are you divorced? So are you gonna be okay with that counter? So that's why I said, girl, the
Or
why you single
why
doesn't
you ain't
bother me.
yeah, right. Why you ain't got kids or why you got 5 kids? Let's get into it then.
Okay. Well, because I mean, but the thing is, what is your intention when you ask the question? It's like you're making it combative, because I'm
Right.
like, if someone has 5 kids, I don't know if they bring that up on the first date, or maybe they do.
No, no.
They typically
It-
don't. You know how it is.
the female to the male, nah, they're not bringing that up.
No, that's what I was gonna say. So I don't say expect a question like why you have 5 kids, but if you ask someone like that, that means you guys are sparring. Are you guys having a good conversation? Are you trying to get to know someone? Are you trying to repel that man or
But
that
you
woman?
might
Are
have
you trying
pulled
to
that
block them?
information. You could have pulled that information from, Google.
Oh, because we know Monica's doing her deep dive. If you're going out on a date with her, she's already run the proper background check. Okay, and I'm
The
not mad at
Carfax.
it. You've already contacted TransUnion and Experian if I know you, girl. So you got all the details. But no,
LexisNexis.
yeah, girl, there's not. Ooh, people who work in certain industries, we know about that. LexisNexis, even though you're not really supposed to use it.
Court.wa.gov.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're not supposed to be just out here using that in the streets.
Court.wa.gov will give you like a Carfax. Who child?
Yeah, and for any state, because I know we do tend to speak on Washington State, but
Right.
we look at the country as a whole, the United States, and every state has a way to find out your facts and figures. And thankfully, we live in an era of Google, hate it or love it. You can easily put in some information. So I always like to say, make sure you have someone's government name. The funniest random story, sidebar, of course. I remember going out with a friend, and we were celebrating because it was Fleet Week in Seattle. So that happens during the summer, and we were kind of hitting up the clubs, and
The
it was
Navy boys. All right now.
but this was many years ago. I'll say, just
Men
for
in
the
uniforms.
yeah, just to protect the innocent. We'll say this is many years ago. So we were standing in line, and this is like an after hours club at this point, and so
On the
the
pier.
no, it was in more downtownish. But girl, don't worry about it. We're not. The location doesn't matter. What the bouncer did is what everybody needs somebody to do for you, because we were going in a group. Like, we had picked up this random person that said they worked for the military. Not me, but I wasn't by myself, and I was with a gentleman anyway. So I wasn't outnumbered or whatever, and whatever. So The bouncer though decided to like read out our names. Like I don't know what made him do that. So the bouncer did the thing that I've never seen done before. He just names off our names. So he says my friend in front of me's full government name, first, last, middle,
Oh no.
and then he says my name, first, middle, last. And then the guy that
Names too?
yes, yes, yes. And then the guy behind us who was coming with us, who we had met at another location and was kind of just going with my friend and I to this new club, they said his name. And my friend and I both stopped and looked at each other because we were like, that ain't really the name he gave us. So we were like, it just helped us stay alert. And when it was time to leave, we definitely made up a janky excuse to get rid of him because he was still tagging along at like 5 and 6 in the morning. So we were like, oh well, I gotta go to get my car and he gotta drop me off here. So let's drop you back off at your hotel first and we'll get with you later. Like we
Oh, I got an alias.
well, see, and that's the funny thing. See, because the aliases I know we do inside the club to protect ourselves or when you don't want to be bothered.
Right.
But I will say when the bouncer at the door puts everybody on blast. But I said, oh, that's a good way to really find out what the deal is. So I don't know why that bouncer was doing that, but I'll just take it as thank you, Lord, and keep it pushing. But
Right, because they usually don't do them. And I think even when you go to like, comedy clubs or other
mhm.
establishments, they don't say your name out loud like that.
I mean, that's putting somebody on blast. So
Right.
you mentioned Monica dating questions that you don't like. So we all know if you see Monica and you go on a first date with her, you know that she's going to have done some basic background about you to feel safe and that she is going to hate you and not want to deal with you if you ask her, why are you single? Or hey, you're pretty, why are you single? Yeah,
Compliment,
yeah,
insert compliment. Why are you
you're
single?
single.
Yeah, let's
It's
not
not.
start off like that. No.
No. So with that in mind, Monica, what is a question that you do like to hear on your first date? Like what keeps the conversation flowing for you that you're not offended by? And I hope during this retrograde season, we all are doing work. Hint, hint, sis. Hint, hint.
Well, is actually one of the questions that was posed to me not too long ago,
Mhm.
um, from a, a brother that I've
Mhm.
been conversating. He had
Mm.
he had asked. He said, "If you had $10 million right now, what are the like first five things you would do?" And I was like, "That's a good question. I've never had anyone just ask me that question. It just makes you get into a different mind frame,
Mhm.
especially the manifesting abundance mind frame. Like, what do you really, if it was, or if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you really want to do?"
Okay, I like that. Okay, that's a good question. I mean, that would definitely keep the conversation flowing. I know that when I was looking at some of these ones, they ask things like if you could go anywhere or where would you like to travel next to or where have you been, are you a traveler, things like that. I'm okay with those
Mm-hmm.
conversations. I think they always kind of let you know a little bit about your partner as well, like if someone
Right.
has a passport, how serious they are. Like if someone says, oh, I'd like to travel, well then what kind of travel? Do you travel internationally? Do you travel domestically? Do you have a passport? It just it can definitely jumpstart a conversation.
Right.
So
Are you on
that would be a
Interpol?
question. Yeah. Oh, see, that's a detective in you. But see, I like that question because that gets the question started. So that's a question I like. Now you asked me what question do I hate or do I despise? Um, no, I can't really say there's anything that I really despise. It's just a matter of how it's presented and if I feel like answering it. So, that is exciting. But now Monica, because it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April, and we were glossing over that, but our priority is always making sure that the family, the community, and people are aware of things that maybe they're taking for granted or just remembering to look out for each other in a different way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this time when I was thinking about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I was thinking of that show, I May Destroy You. And it came on a few years ago by Michaela Cole. She was the writer, I guess the visionary behind it, and the star. And I remember watching that show and thinking, because it was about dating and kind of moving within society and the new norms and what's acceptable and not acceptable. And for me, I it just had me going, what what do I now consider to be like assault, or or inappropriate things? Because in the show they mentioned things like someone sending you a unwanted text message that maybe was sexual in content that you didn't want, like all those
You talking about dick
DPs.
pics?
Yeah, yeah, I said DPs, but yes, exactly, yeah, and how that is actually considered assault now under kind of the new broader definition of just, both parties have to be consenting, and it can't be, and it could be anything. It could be something as simple as a woman walking down the street or a man walking down the street and having someone, grab your butt or grab your breast, or when you're on the public transportation, someone pressing up against you with their, body, and it's
Hmm.
unwanted by you, that is considered now a form of sexual assault. It's not just kind of the stereotypical, just hard fast, rape or non-consensual assault. It's little things. It's a little bit more subtle. Um,
It might be subtle, but I got crack. Like it just depends.
I don't blame you. That's not unwarranted. But for me in the show, there was the thing where this guy, he was on a date in the show, and he didn't really want to go any further, but the
Hmm.
guy didn't necessarily penetrate him or take off his clothes, but he did like unwanted grinding on him,
Hmm.
and it really traumatized him because it it wasn't consensual. And I really like the fact that people are talking more about consent. I mean, we grew up with the campaign mottos: no, no means no, just say no. Um, but I don't know how many people, because I
No,
think we
no,
all
no,
know,
no, no.
yeah, because everyone knows someone who and or has experienced some kind of sexual trauma. I think when we were talking about that, we kind of were like, wow, yeah, this happened, and it is considered sexual trauma. So when you go out for a first date, Monica, do you bring any kind of protection with you?
I keep some weapons in the car. Um, I'm not
That's
gonna say what it is.
No, that's why I love you, because it's T-Town in you, girl. You might as well say T. When you say that kind of stuff, go ahead and say T-Town.
That's all I'm gonna say. I best assured, if I'm not going through TSA, I have some weapons on me, and I slowly I will get the other type of artillery, but
Hmm.
it's weapons. It'll hurt you.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
And I make sure to also, someone knows, best believe someone knows where
Where
I'm
you're
at.
okay, and I like that, and I always want to kind of bring that point up too. So it's like you have kind of an accountability partner. Like if you're going on a first date, especially, I know that you do more real life dating, and I
Hmm.
sometimes will meet people versus social media, or well, I won't say social media, that's not me, but I have done online dating in the past. So yes, I think it's really essential that your girls, or your, whoever it is that you trust, know, like, I'm about to go with this person, send me a text. Like I'll have a whole I'll have a whole list, like, send me a text in 10 minutes, and then call me in an hour, and depending on how it's going, I will use that as my excuse, like I just have a whole system set up. But I do like the idea of bringing, like, having some kind of mace or pepper spray, or
Bear
any
spray,
or bear spray or something with you, a
pocket
taser.
knife,
Yeah,
switchblade,
honey,
bat.
I know a girlfriend who dated her partner for many years, and their first encounter, she had a taser, and they weren't even on a date. But he was like, "Well, you could tase me." I guess he didn't think she would do it, and she tased the. Shit.
He's still alive because
Yeah, no, he
they
is.
will kill somebody. I
Yeah,
mean, if you need to have some eye contact solution, but you ain't hear that from me. So
yeah. Oh, well, that I see. I'm scared of eye contact solution, because that's back in the day. That's how people would get roofied. Like they put that eye contact solution in their drink, and somebody has no memory. So I'm kind of leery about those kind of things. But I know that people have the little alarms on their keys,
Hmm.
the
Or your
the
car alarm.
whistles. Yep, the
I don't play.
whistles. Yeah, I mean, just kind of anything to kind of get yourself out of a bind, because I've also been watching the show The Power, not to be confused with Stars 50 Cent produced drama called Power, but The Power on Amazon is based off of a book where women all of a sudden get like electrical power throughout their body. And one of the first things that they kind of started bringing to light is that now women feel safe, where they felt fearful before because, they couldn't they had all these rules that as women, we naturally do or we should do to be safe within society, because anything can happen to you as I don't want to say the weaker sex. I hate that verbiage, but just as
As
someone
a
who could be
woman.
overpowered, who could be overpowered. And
Hmm.
so when I thought about that, I was like, wow, that's a point, because it was a little 17-year-old or 16-year-old girl who was like, she was like, it got dark and I was out running, but I didn't even feel the need to like she said, I walked home and I wasn't scared and I wasn't afraid and I didn't, and she just kind of talked about the freedom that having this ability to protect herself and to feel safe constantly allowed her to have. So,
I couldn't even imagine because I live in a pretty safe neighborhood, but I'm not running at night. I'm not walking at night.
thank
No.
you. Yeah, and that's
Now,
what I was going to ask.
if I have a dog with me and somebody else with me, probably, but by myself, nah.
No, of course, because there's safety in numbers. I mean, when you think about it, I do you feel like I don't think about not feeling safe as a woman, but I do know that there are things that I do that are different than how men operate, and how men and other people may choose to live their life. Are there any things that jump out to you, Monica, that you do that you realize that other people or men may not do, just to protect your safety and your security as a woman in these streets?
My head's on a swivel. I have eye contact. I, try to remember what people are wearing just in case, especially if you get that knot in your stomach. You better listen to it.
Mhm.
Intuition, Holy Spirit, you better listen to it and
Mhm.
move accordingly, because it
Mhm.
does not lie. uh
Mhm.
Especially like parking garages, you just got to be aware, because it's like, do you take the elevator or do you take the stairs? I'm much quicker on the stairs,
Okay.
so I don't want to be stuck with somebody I don't
No, inside of a
the
box.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that. I mean, it depends on the time of day. I know for me, I like to make sure that I have my keys um, already out before I get like out of my car
Oh,
in
that
any
too.
location.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
something simple, but I've actually been around. It's so interesting because I was around some gentlemen, and they don't think about that. They just jump out the car like whatever. I'm like, we don't have a key. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get up here and be fumbling around for the keys, not able to get inside. Like that's a danger thing. Like if you're a woman and you're doing that, anyone could come up behind a tree, a bush, or anything. You're just out there fumbling around instead of getting inside where you need to. So I always try to make sure
Hmm.
that I have my keys out and they're ready to go. And also keys can be used as a weapon in defense. So I'm like, okay,
Sure
I
can go for
yeah,
the eyes
exactly. So I like that. Okay, so
or the neck, the jugular right there.
no, I mean, well, hey, I mean, we're talking real,
That's where
right?
people bleed the most. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, hey, I tell you, they say the soft parts, right? Eyes,
Right.
like you said, jugular, testicles, anything that allow you to escape and to run away, And I do understand that every situation isn't going to be that kind of a situation, because sometimes you are overpowered. Sometimes they do have a weapon, and of course, we always say survive, because there's help. And we can help you get past it, but sometimes it's just surviving the ordeal as
Hmm.
well, which is what made me really think about that statement in Power. The Power was like, oh wow, I guess women do all kinds of things that men don't have to really even think about or consider when it comes to their safety, because they're not worried about someone, like like you said, you look around, your head is on a swivel. You're always trying to pay attention to what is happening around you. And I feel this especially now. I'm going to put in a little ethnic thing in here. I especially feel as a Black woman I need to, because I know that, sometimes our community can be hard on women when bad things happen to us. Like, well, girl,
Right.
why were you out at 1:30? Why were you? Whoa, you already knew all the
Mhm.
rules. So we already have to set ourselves on such a high standard with protecting ourselves out here in these streets. So I definitely know that that can be a stress exercise in itself, right?
That did
Because
make that did sorry, not to cut you off. That
mhm,
made me think, when you said, do you walk at night, walk in the dark?
mhm,
This was several years ago, but and I was downtown Tacoma Hilltop,
mhm,
but I wasn't by myself though. I was with a man
mhm.
who's actually like a fighter, so I
Yeah.
felt safe. But that's
Yes.
the last time you saw homegirl running at night.
Okay, and let's make sure that they know that he's not like a street fighter. He's actually a professional fighter. Where if he got into a confrontation with someone, um, then it would be serious for that person, because this is what
Oh
this person
yeah,
does. Is they're a fighter? They're a
exactly.
fighter. Because I think sometimes people hear fighter, you're like, oh yeah, he could handle himself. He can hand out two pieces and a biscuit. No, we're
No,
not
he
talking
was an
about street fighting.
MMA fighter. Yeah,
Fighter, yeah.
he would have whipped somebody down.
So okay, so yeah, but you were out there running, and I appreciate that, because that's what this conversation does, is it brings back moments or memories. For me, I was thinking about online dating, and this was kind of during early in the pandemic,
Hmm.
because by the time the pandemic was done, girl, I was not trying to be online doing nothing, because it was just a hell show. But nonetheless, I remember, and, and one of my girlfriends, the way she put this comment was, she said, in my next life, I want to come back with the confidence of a white man. She said, because this is ridiculous. And it was so crazy. So I thought the
It
person,
reminds me of Sierra's song. If I was a boy.
oh, it was crazy, because he was a teacher. This person that I was, just kind of having casual back and forth exchange with,
Hmm.
they were a teacher. They did not live in the same state as me, so it would have always been kind of an online type of conversation, or
Right.
maybe something, it could have been something more serious. I don't know. It never got there. It was just the first date question type, like we're just kind of getting to know each other. They sent you a look. I don't even think we had exchanged real contact information. We were still,
Just an inquiry.
yeah, we were still communicating through the site, right?
Right.
So eventually the person's like, well, do you want to have like a Skype date? Because that was starting to be the trend then. It's like, oh, people are Skype dating. You get a glass of wine or have a meal, and you just, it's, since you can't do any of this person to person, you do it online. And so I was like, okay, yeah, we can do a Skype date, girl. Didn't even have Skype, so I had to download and do all the other crap, to get Skype. And once I'm in there, I'm fully clothed, dressed, trying to have my hair looking decent, I have my little glass of tea. I think I had like a cocktail, and I
Hmm.
was prepared. Girl, as soon as the camera comes on, and remember, I've only seen, everyone's internet picture is always sometimes different than the reality. Girl, why this man open up the Skype and the camera? Girl, he didn't have no clothes on.
Dang
No,
a lang,
no,
dang a lang.
girl, nothing on him. Nothing on him. And he had to be a good 450. I was
Oh,
like, oh, and
child.
I'm not, honey, I got my plus size card, so I'm not shaming anyone. I know everybody's body positive, but it just not was not what I was expecting. Because at 450 with that, I didn't have to necessarily see no dingaling, because it was too much
It's
other things going on.
just
but
so uncouth.
but if girl, it took my breath away. I was like, disconnect. I was so bad. And then he tried to apologize, and I said, what? I'm confused. Like, we haven't had a conversation on the, like, we what would make you even think? Bye, boy,
This
bye,
ain't
honey. That
fans
was
only.
boy, bye. Because you know what? That really offends me. And then this is another side of Mila that this side, and it is, oh, you're not about to get something for free off of me that people pay for. If you want to have sexual conversations and do fans only or only fans type things, so you better get yourself a membership or you better be paid. You're not gonna be working me to death over here, making me look at things that make me want
Mm-mm.
to vomit. Okay,
Yeah,
because I don't like that.
unsolicited nude pics, no bueno.
And then to kind of now, like I said, making it all full circle, going back to looking at what is considered sexual assault, realizing that that is considered sexual assault, right? And men
Mm-hmm.
do all kind of creepy things all the time. I mean, at one time when I first got into online dating, you have two conversations with someone and they're ready to send you a dick pic or whatever, a DP, and it was crazy. My friends and I started calling them thumbs, because one day my my mom was near my phone, but she didn't have her glasses on, and she was like, "Is that a thumb?" She said, "People are just sending you thumbs up." Girl, I wanted to pass out. I
Oh
said, I said,
no.
"Oh," I said, "Oh no, mom, don't worry about this." And I realized, "Oh yeah," I said, "I
You
need to
gotta
have one
get
of
the
those black
banner
screen."
notifications, not the
Yes.
big notification.
Girl, they were sending thumbs left and right. I said, I and the thumbs weren't great. I said, I don't even know why men would do this. I said, do you want to get a date or do you want someone to say no? Because sending your thumb is never a good way to get a woman's attention because the thumbs never look the way you think they're going to look. Okay. And it's really interesting because I found that I didn't get as many thumbs from brothers as I did from non-brothers. And that's just, I
Well, that's
don't,
a whole nother episode
yes,
of
I was
cultural
like,
context and what they
mm-hmm.
believe that, yeah.
Black women are about, or objectifying us, all this other nonsense. I said, but I see so many little. I said, child, please. And it's not even that they all little. They just, I just didn't need to see it.
Oompa loompa doo.
I said, honey, convince me to, like, honey, treat me special. Make me want to see the thumb. Don't just voluntarily force that thumb on me because that is never going to be a good idea. And then I realized all of that is assault. So people out here online dating and getting bombarded with trash, that's assault. And that's why people like to do it online because they feel like they can get away with it because they're anonymous.
Right.
But be aware. If you feel a certain way and you don't want to online date anymore or you've been traumatized like that, I hear you, sis. Mila, see you. I have been there. It is crazy. I mean, and it feels very disrespectful. Like I said, I
That's,
felt
yeah,
super
disrespect.
disrespectful. Yeah, I was like, and I said, if this was real life, you already know it wouldn't have happened because that's when I have to channel that spirit of the ancestors in DMX, and I would have went off. But people try anything
Well,
in the
that would have been
virtual
on the
world.
news because, if they expose themselves out in public, that usually gets on the news.
It does. And that's why they feel really comfortable. And then they feel like, oh, well, I'm not sitting in my face. I'm like, but fool, you done sent your number. You done gave me all this backstory. I never delete nothing. I was like, you better hope I never want to write a
Receipts.
book. Okay, because that is my nickname, honey. I love a good receipt. I
Oh,
feel
she's
like
writing a book, y'all.
so I was, well, So I said people might want to check themselves. Okay, sending out all these, DPs, but that was a sidebar on it. But it is crazy out here in this era of sexual assault and being aware of what is considered assault because people be out here being assaulted left and right and not realizing it. And I'm glad to actually now get to live in an era where we can say, this isn't right, or this makes me feel uncomfortable, which kind of leads
Right.
me to another sidebar conversation we were having because a popular podcaster and blogger that you and I have both kind of followed on and off for years had an incident that happened in a foreign country. And that kind of got us to thinking about, okay, what does sexual assault look like outside of the lens of the United States? Because we do have a lot of rights and freedoms, even if I know at times we don't feel like we do as women in the
Right.
States. But some countries, they do not have that same standard.
And
We
each
were,
country is different.
exactly, because I think, Monica, you brought up the point where women should be able to wear whatever they want to. And I said that's a very American way of looking at things because in the other country, they could have a different religious, cultural standard, and certain things be not accepted
Oh
or
no, yeah,
considered
no,
inappropriate.
no, I didn't say that. I said when we were discussing her because she had changed clothes. She was thinking, maybe I can, I'll put this on, but you gotta be aware
Hmm.
and aware and not inebriated either.
Yeah, exactly. Be cautious, especially if you're solo traveling. I know that's a really popular thing now. Everyone's like, I'm just going to forget my friends. I'm just going to go out and explore the world by myself. I say, do due diligence. Do
No.
due diligence, sis. Don't just follow a travel blogger and be like, oh, this country is so safe because she stayed at the Four Seasons and that's where I'm going to stay. Girl, don't buy the hype. We were saying, listen
Right.
to, get the local news, not Al Jazeera, not BBC. Go
Mm-mm.
to the country you're traveling and get their local news.
Go to
Start following
YouTube
that.
first
Yep.
before you, yeah, like you said, the real news.
Yeah,
Because you'll
don't
see everything
the
going on.
thing.
You be like, dang.
I know I had a friend. I said you talked about one of my exes, Monica, and this is funny because you said he had you watching the real African news. I said, yeah, honey. He showed me they were still in staircases. I said, wait, what is that? They were robbing the reporter on new on the on the TV, like during the national broadcast news for the evening. Like we're here right outside of whatever hospital where the president has just gone to have a surgery. Wait, no, we are recording right now. You know, you're not about to hold us up. Like the newscaster and the thieves, like they were trying to rob them while they were recording for the news. I said, and then, then we know the travel blogger has everyone thinking that this country is, oh, it's just like California, or it's just like Rodeo Drive, or this feels just like being in the Hamptons. Girl, you're trying to get some people killed. You
Right.
know where
Because
you're
the
going.
Rodeo Drive, the next street over is downtown LA. So, I mean, make it make
Thank you, thank you, Monica. That that's my expression. Honey. Make it make sense. It doesn't. I don't understand that. You got to break this down for me, elementary style. Like, honey, get this 1 + 1 to equal 2, sometimes 3, but it has to make sense. So, yeah. Yes. So when you think about traveling as a solo traveler, as a woman, Monica, what's one of the first things that you do to protect yourself or to kind of ensure that you're okay?
I do travel solo, haven't internationally
Mm-hmm.
yet. Of course, people know where I'm going. I email my itinerary to family and friends. They're aware of that, so they'll
Mm-hmm.
know where I'm at all times. Share your location with a
Mm-hmm.
person you trust, so they always have that. Also, when land, depart, arrival, someone's getting a text.
That's
Uh,
true. Stay in contact with your people because that is the best way to know that something is wrong with your person. If
right.
you have a schedule for contacting your family, you don't, then they can know to start being. Do you like to use Uber when you travel? Like I do like to use Uber, and I know people have have had safety, and I've had two weird moments in Uber where I haven't felt safe, but what I did is I stayed on the phone with someone who I knew was an accountability partner. Like one time it was my mom, and the other time it was my girlfriend. And then I hung up from her. I was like, I gotta call my mama. I gotta call someone who I know, honey. If this hits the fan, she gonna make sure they knew she was this, she was doing that. This, like I couldn't play around because the man, the conversation is going from bad to scary. But and for me to say that, that means it's terrible. But do you like to use Uber when you are traveling? Solo or even in a group? Are you a Uber fan?
Uh, Uber. I've only ridden an Uber a few times as an individual, which
Mm,
I prefer not to do. I'll do
mm,
Uber with a group, or when me and my sister went out to Vegas, we did Uber there. But a lot of times when I do travel, I prefer to have my own transportation, especially if you're not in a city where everything is close, and
right.
so I have more control. But along with that, having your own transportation, you got to make sure that you are, aware of things. People know what type of car, friends and family know what type of car you're driving.
Mhm,
You are familiar with, I won't say, because now we have the map and the apps and
mhm.
the screens that help
GPS.
us get the GPS that still
Yeah.
gets us around, but just even doing research before that, so you know what type of areas you'll be driving through.
Make sure you have that
Uh,
roadside assistance. I'm sorry, I just
that
wanted to
too.
chime in. Make sure you got your roadside assistance for sure. Even if it's on your vehicle that you drive normally when you're at home, it
Oh,
can
I
still
keep the
transfer to a
AAA
rent.
card.
Thank you. I
Mm-hmm.
said it could transfer to your rental. Like, make sure because you don't know where you'll break down at an unfamiliar place. You just want to make sure that you have. I mean, and these are the kind of things that like women
Know where
we're
the
having to think
hospitals
about.
are,
Yeah, we're
police
thinking
stations.
about that. Yeah, we have to be aware of that. And it might not be right, but since it is something that we should do to protect ourselves, let's be good at it. Let's just make it be second nature. Make sure when you're traveling, that you have the proper insurance that you need, and that you do have things like AAA. So I asked you about Uber. I will take Uber. I don't take Lyft as much, but I definitely take Uber on more than one occasion. But what about Airbnb? Because see, I know you do Airbnb and I do not. I don't feel like it's safe. And I know that there was that big TikTok thing going around this week about the girlfriends who had rented an Airbnb. There were supposedly, I guess, 15 of them or whatever. They were celebrating, I believe, a birthday, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the girls was me, and she said, "I'm paranoid. I think there's cameras in in here." And her girlfriends, they were feeling it, drinking, kicking it. They in an Airbnb. I guess it's a lovely place. And they say, okay, well, you do your thing. And she does find a camera in the bathroom. It was facing the shower. It was in a outlet that they said never worked. And she found it within 24 hours of them being there.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and it made her feel unsafe. And it was a whole TikTok. TikTok loves to do them like
Mm-hmm.
the whole like dramas, the sagas that'll be like 2 or 3 parts. And then of course they called the police. The police, I think, found other cameras in the place. Airbnb refunded them the money, which is too little, too late, because the girl who was making the video was like, I used that shower the night before, and she said the things that she said, oh, I hope whatever they were recording, I hope it's never released. And I said, yeah,
Ooh,
that's the problem.
child.
Yeah. So, so I know that I am not a fan of Airbnbs just in general. Uh,
It's
I just,
I've
you know what? I
only
like a
I've
hotel,
only I've
a nice one.
only actually, I think I've only stayed at one Airbnb, and it actually was out of the country. Did they have cameras? I don't know. I felt safe. I didn't feel like I was being watched, but I did watch a movie on Netflix called The Rental, which was about cameras in an
Mm.
Airbnb. And
Ooh.
so I would prefer, the only thing I really, Airbnbs for, I guess, groups or families, but there's other rental places like VRBO or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, Verbo.
I I don't if I'm going on a trip, I don't want to have to clean up after myself. Like that don't I
That's why I
paying
like
all
a
that money.
hotel.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go stay at a hotel. Like
Because I got upset, girl. They try to say that now hotels are not trying to clean every day. I said, oh no, that's a lie. No, no, no. That's why I'm here. This is what
they
makes it a
better for all
vacation.
those extra fees. They got
Resort fee, and
resort
yes,
fee,
honey, you
and
you
it's not
checked
even a
in fee.
resort, it's a
Yeah.
hotel. They got
Yes.
extra depending on what state you're. I'm like, ooh.
Make it make sense, but no, I'm at the hotel, and like I said, I want to be at a nice hotel because I have left hotels when I'm like, oh wait, this is not what I signed up for. I hard pass, hard
Hmm.
pass. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. I call it the cost of being grown. So
Yeah,
I'm like, nope,
because
this don't
because
feel
you know
right.
what, Airbnb, they don't go out and check those houses or places that are using their company to rent out, to vacationers. They
Mhm.
don't go check all those houses to make sure that there's no cameras in them.
No, girl. That's why I said no. And you have to wonder who put the camera there. Was it the owner of the home? Because like I have a cousin who
Oh,
had a
that's true.
had an Airbnb. Because see, a lot of times people think it's some random person, but a random person won't continue to have access to the house. It's
Right.
typically the property owners. And I had a cousin who had an Airbnb for a while, and they had to get rid of it because they said the stress. They were like every time they had to come in and clean because they wouldn't hire a cleaning staff. They want to come in and see the damage or see what was done to their place,
And
and they were like,
people are nasty.
yeah, they were like just seeing how people just disrespect because they still love that home. Like they were Airbnb-ing it, but it was
Hmm.
still, their home. And so they were like, nah, they couldn't do it. They said the stress. They were like, it's more stressful, to come in and see people just being super disrespectful in their home. Like you said, people are nasty, they're disrespectful, they break things. I mean, because it's not their home. So they don't always treat it, even with the fees and the
The extra fee,
penalties.
yeah, I was like, what? Yeah.
No. So I was like, now
But I'll
see,
tell
it's
you this, I'll leave it just how it was when I got there. I'm not doing no extra shit.
oh yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that one. I think the only time I stayed in the Airbnb was with the family members that actually had the Airbnb,
Right.
and it was in Hawaii, and it was beautiful, and it was by the beach, and there was a reason. I mean, because they were there for more than a week or two. If you're going to be
Hmm.
someplace for a long time, I understand it, and I definitely didn't feel like there were cameras in that, but still, because I didn't know, I still moved differently though. I still didn't. I don't know. I still wasn't super, super like free and ridiculous, because I was like, I don't know where the camera is or where it's
Right.
not.
I
And
mean, there could be cameras in the hotel rooms from the previous person that stayed there too. You you never know who's watching you. So I always feel
mhm,
like
somebody's watching
you just never
me.
know.
Yeah. And I get no privacy. Well, that's true. Well, okay. Then, last thing, as we kind of wrap up this kind of portion of women being safe, traveling, dating, the whole nine. I know that you have recently started Saint X, and we've been going back and forth about it's a new show on Hulu, and we've been going back and forth about it because it's inspired by one of the most like significant moments for me that happened as a teenager, because I am a year older than Natalie Holloway, because I think it happened the year after we graduated from high school and
Hmm.
everything, and it's inspired by Natalie Holloway and her story, and it's about traveling with people and just girl code. I almost say like girl code, girl code, girl code. When you're traveling with your friends though, Monica, is there any girl code that is like a deal breaker? Like if someone does this, you're not messing with them, or if they don't do this, you're looking at them suspect. Like, do you have any girl code when you travel?
Yeah, I mean, if we have a group of more than if it's a group,
Hmm.
if we go out, you're not unless we can see you from the balcony walking to the beach.
Yeah.
But if it's if it depending on the environment and the people there. For example, when I was in Mexico, because the
Hmm.
place that we were staying at, so some of the women we would I didn't, but some of them would go down to the themselves or
Hmm.
go to the restaurant because it was still within that resort location.
Hmm.
And there's security over there. There's
Hmm.
security by the pool, there's security by the gate, there's
Hmm.
security in the restaurant, so they felt comfortable. That's fine. But outside of that, if you're not familiar or you weren't from Mexico, we were going out in twos, even
Okay.
if it wasn't all four of us. Uh,
I
I
like
made
that.
sure
I
that
like that.
I made sure. I mean, I'm a light drinker now, so I always stay alert,
Hmm.
you know. So that's how I do, because some people don't know their tolerance, or they just.
Yep, I'm a proud designated driver typically, so it is what it is. I've sometimes it feels like you're having to babysit your friends, but I do want to
Hmm.
make sure that everyone gets home safely. And from the Natalie Holloway story, I always took away, all the, she went on vacation to Aruba, senior class trip, just to kind of fill people in case they're not familiar with what happened with Natalie. Class trip, ends up leaving with three guys that she did not know, and then of course never seen again. And for me, I always was bothered with the fact that her girlfriends, because this is a high school trip, that her girlfriends were okay with letting her go with three strange men that she didn't know on an island. Like I feel like sometimes people think that they're on islands, so then that it's safer. But don't be fooled. You need to be aware. And so it kind of has. that incident kind of has dictated how I've moved, from 21 and up, going out with my girlfriends, being the designated driver or being the one who, keeps their wits about
makes
them.
you it
Yeah.
makes you question if those were really her friends. Was there some jealousy or envy there? Because why would that's
Yeah,
just
that was a hater move. That was a hater. And when I was thinking about it, I said you and I, and no one might want to ruin their trip. See, that's the thing. Sometimes I think people get kind of selfish, like, well, I don't want to ruin my trip. I'm here too, and I need to be able to have fun or do whatever I want to do. But you and I, we were on vacation, and we were, it was DC where we were at the time, and we were young. We were in our early 20s, and we just an associate, somebody who was in the group that we were with, so not even someone that we had a whole deep relationship with. I knew that she was a mom and had 4 kids, but she had been roofied, and we found her in the bathroom, and we stayed with her, and her group of women that were supposed to be her girlfriends, they had
left.
all disappeared. And everybody was so happy to get the free drinks. I'm like, I'm never that thirsty. And ladies, we've said it a million times on this, and family, because it's for everybody. Don't be so damn thirsty that you end up in a milk on a milk carton box, or on a missing poster. Okay, it's not that serious. And this woman had been definitely roofied, and she was in a bad state when we discovered her. And this is with the bathroom attendant, because we weren't even at no
Right.
lowbrow type of place.
No.
And so, like, I'm like, what is the point of the bathroom attendant? What are you in here doing? Because this lady is obviously messed up in there. But we took care of her. It put a spin on our night, but it gave us a really good life lesson, I think. So I always think about the Natalie Holloway thing, and my girl
Mm-hmm.
code is no. If you guys are on vacation and you don't know that person, who they're leaving with, have some things in place. I understand people want to experience being wild and free, but have
Mm-hmm.
some checks and balances.
Right.
Even if it's taking the license plate of the car, even if it's capturing the people on video, even if it's getting their supposed name, anything that could help if the worst case scenario happens. So I guess that's my girl code
Well,
for traveling.
that's for traveling, and even not traveling, going back to, I guess, online dating, because there
Hmm.
was a lady, she had went on a first date with this guy to the Seattle Mariners game probably a couple months ago,
Yes, girlfriend. Yes.
and she
Oh.
ended up dead. They finally
Mm.
arrested the guy, but yeah.
Yeah, and that was crazy because then he tried to come after her son or something wild. It
I
was,
don't know.
yeah, it was just that whole thing. So just kind of, it's spring. So I guess also the reason why we're talking about this, is because spring is here. People are out about, like Monica said, it's going to be warm in the Northwest, this weekend, and possibly warm all over the country. And so people are wanting to get out. You're wanting to shake your tail feather, dip your back, bend it, go places, be seen, be cute. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to live your best life, but just a little ounce of prevention is
Mm-hmm.
worth a pound of cure. I love that expression that the old people would tell me, and I took it to heart. You can be out here thinking you can. Honey,
Dip it and do it.
yeah, but just be a little wise. Just a little wisdom, just a little wisdom. Not don't be afraid to live your best life, but just some things to have in place so that you
Mm-hmm.
get home safe. That was always my mission when I go out with my girlfriends. Everybody get home safe. We have a good time, get home safe. We able to laugh
Oh,
about it
and
at
that's
brunch
an
the next
yeah,
day.
and that's another thing. Yeah, whenever I go somewhere, or girlfriends be like, "Text me when you get home." Text or
Hmm.
call me when you get home. So
Yes. Yeah, to make that a reality. Okay. So now, Monica, moving right along, I know that we are getting ready to go into a new month. We're not going to do our normal monthly recap because we were talking about important stuff, honey, dating and getting out in the mix. But I do want to shout out a few dates to remember until we get together again. The first is that May 1st is May Day. So, a lot of times people
Seattle, get ready.
that's exactly, big cities in general. Any place where they're known to protest or have gatherings of workers or different things like that. Just be aware that it
No,
is
call
May
it a
1st.
protest. It's not a gathering. It's a protest. Let's watch the words. It ain't a gathering because it's them folks. It's a protest. They acting up.
Well, we've seen them act up in the past. We don't know how they're going to act in 2023. We don't want to put any, negative energy out there, but it is May 1st coming up. So be aware. It is also Cinco de Mayo on the 5th. So we do want to kind of shout that out. I do like that on May 2nd is known as like foster, I believe it's Foster Care Appreciation Day or
Mm-hmm.
National Foster Care Day. And it's also National Teachers Appreciation Day. So I do want to kind of shout that out. And believe it or not, it's National Brothers and Sisters Day. So May 2nd, really be about your family. You know,
Right. And
it's all
applaud them teachers because I couldn't do it. Y'all kids is too much for me. I'm just letting you know. That's not my calling.
no, honey, we discussed that on last week's episode. Heck, after we seen that teacher have to fight for her life, no, thank you. Hard pass on teaching your badass kids. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
No, see, I like kids that are good. I like home training kids. Okay, kids that know that there is some accountability and respectability that has to be. That's the part of the societal contract. Okay, anything else is too much. Also, May 4th is National Self-Employed Day. So I don't know if that's like Entrepreneur Day, but I appreciate that. It's also National Day of Prayer. So I do, shout out May 4th. And then, of course, May 5th sends us into Cinco de Mayo, an African World Heritage Day. So I
Full
kind of like that.
moon.
Yeah, I kind of like that vibe. And then also for May, the month of May is AAPI, so Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So, shout out to our AAPI brothers and sisters. It also is Jewish American Heritage Month. So, good time to learn about some other people who have had struggles as well and are being resilient. So, fun ways to start off May. Like I said, May is that kind of month. Also, May 6th, which is Saturday, is going to be the Kentucky Derby if all things are the way they're supposed to be. Because typically the
Get your
Derby,
bets on.
yeah, I was gonna say the Derby is the first weekend or first Saturday of the month of May. So get your big hats, get your bets ready, and enjoy the Derby. Do you ever watch the Kentucky Derby, Monica?
No.
I've never once. Have you watched the Derby?
No, no, not it's not something that I am really interested in. Now, if someone invites me to go, I'll dress up and go on the hat. I'll step out. But
Okay. But yeah, no, I understand. Like I watch the Derby. Horses are That's the only time that I can really deal with horses because you know how I feel about horses in general. And so, but the Derby, I love the hats, I love the fashion, I love seeing the people win. It is a spectacle. I mean, that thing could be on for like 5 or 6 hours, and the race is really like only like less than a minute. I mean, the horses go around and they win. I like trying to guess which, based off of the name, who's going to be the winner. But I'm not a gambler, so it never phases me either way. But
Mhm.
I do appreciate the pomp and circumstance, and so that is
No,
something.
I'd rather ride a horse than watch some horses.
And see, and everyone is different. Like I said, I feel a certain way about the horses. I'm gonna watch them because I don't have to step in their poo, be around. No, 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 no. You know me and animals. I love them from afar, way, way far away from me. So, so Monica, I know we always have a good business of the month, of the week. I'm sorry. Is there any business that you're going to shout out this week that we should know about? Because
Yeah, so
last week, girl, that fashion. I mean, I had people reach out to me on a side note and go, "Oh, that was the good tip she gave about how to recycle your clothing," and that company, the company that
4 days.
yes,
Uh-huh.
girl, with the bag, and you send in that bag of crap. Oh,
Oh
girl, that
yeah,
was
they
amazing.
the 4 days needs to, yeah, 4 days sponsorship, yes. Because I wore a sweatsuit this past week, and I went to the chiropractor. They're like, your outfit's cute and all this, but I had got it from 4 days because they'll have like flash sales.
Yes.
It might be $7, $9, or
Oh,
$15 every blue moon. They'll have a flash sale, and I had picked up quite a few items credits from them.
okay.
So, just
Okay.
make sure you stay in their email loop. But for this week,
Mm-hmm.
the business on the heels of everything we talk about of traveling and sexual assault, it is called the Greet.her app,
Mm.
and it basically helps women travel safer around the world when you're
Mm.
solo traveling.
Okay. Greet. Will you spell that out for us, Monica?
Greet, like greetings,
Uh-huh.
Greet.her, and it's an app.
Okay, a Greet.her app. Okay. Well, honey, I definitely that sounds like something you should have in your life because it is about to be summer, summer, summertime. And everyone's gonna be out in the mix. Now, as we get ready to wrap it up though, any lessons, any takeaways you're taking from April and that you're gonna grow with in May?
I stay reflecting.
Mm-hmm. That's real. You do.
So and I actually had reflected on some conversations, some interactions I had with someone, and I had to go into unresolved wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, because we had ended some communication, and I had to actually really think about that. And I was like, ooh, child, that's a trigger, and I see where that comes from. And that's why I got up, I was sensitive or got upset with the person.
Mm-hmm.
But I went ahead and I explained that to them. Like, I let down a wall, let down some
Mm-hmm.
became vulnerable, because that was a lot for me to express to them. But um they were appreciative, and things have resumed to with my with one of my friends. So I
Yeah.
person, or they're actually open to me explaining and processing that,
Okay.
based on what they're going through. It could be a lot.
Definitely it could be. Okay, I like that reflection, and you're definitely always doing the work, so that's good. I know for me, when I look back at this month, it is a little bit about what you mentioned, reflection and grace as well. Giving, that's kind of one of the new trends, trending wording, giving yourself grace or having soft seasons. And I was reminded, I'm like, we've been talking about that before it was, a trending topic. Last year we were having a conversation on the podcast, and you so brilliantly said, I'm delicate. And you were like, no, no, no. I don't want people to be out here thinking I'm delicate. And I really realized that during the month of April, sometimes when you're going through things, you coming at them so strong, so hard. Um, but then part of my walking by faith journey is realizing that God will fight my battle, and that sometimes I need to just sit back and realize I'm delicate, and that is
Hmm.
why every battle is not for me to fight. And so that was kind of my reflection on May, is like giving myself enough grace to sit myself down and watch things work out the way they're supposed to. And that is really hard when you feel like you want to be in control, or you know how you have expectations and how you want things to go and how they should go. But sometimes you just have to really let go, let God, and just sit back and just be delicate. So
That's that Virgo. Hmm.
yeah, so that, hey, well, so April, I really reflected on that now that I'm looking back over April, and I enjoyed my delicate month, and I'm looking forward to incorporating that in my life throughout the year. Those moments of grace and delicacy, where I'm like, oh wow, I am delicate. Okay, so Monica, is there anything else that I'm forgetting to tell the people today?
I did also want to mention, this past week, the 23rd through the 29th, was Infertility Awareness Week.
Mm,
So consult with your doctor, your herbalist, fertility specialist. There's lots of information, online. Uh, Great herbs, teas to drink: red
mm-hmm.
raspberry, red clover, black cohosh. So just FYI, there, it's like you said, that's a delicate conversation.
Yep, but you
So,
never know who is trying to have a child or having issues with their fertility. Might not be something that they're comfortable speaking of. So, at least you can support them and be aware that this is a real issue and a real topic out there. So, all right, then it sounds like on that note, everyone enjoy the week ahead and we will talk to you soon.
Be kind. Peace.
Monica, where can they find us again?
They can find us on Anchor, Spotify, and now iTunes. And please like, share, subscribe, and leave us a comment. You can shoot us an email or a voice message if you'd like. And with all that, love and gratitude.
Remember to call your aunties or your girlfriends and say hi. Bye.